Morning everybody, thanks again for joining. We've got a spaniel this morning, we'll see how well that works out. Today we're going to be looking at quite a bit of shoulder work to begin with, a little bit of mid and lower back through back extensions. All kind of exercises that you've seen before, but maybe just a few variations with the arms that are going to focus on the shoulders specifically. Then we're going to move into a little bit of work on the hips and a bit of leg work. So we'll get straight on the mat. I'm going to be moving around a little bit on the mat for camera angles today. Obviously you can just stay laid out exactly as you are. You don't need to move around the way that I do. So to begin with, I'm going to be off the mat. You don't need to be. Face down. And I'm going to just bring your arms to that 90-degree position that we've done so many times before. Forehead down to the mat. Just relaxing onto the mat for a few seconds. Just have a wiggle out. Just loosen off and get into the frame of mind for the session. A few breaths. Remember to always have your core on, no matter whether you're face down, face up, lying on your side, whatever we're doing, just to engage that core and breathe through your chest. So forehead to the mat, just going to take a breath in, and we're going to just lift the arms, keeping the forearms here parallel to the ground. So you're not just lifting the elbows, you're not just lifting the hands. The whole arm comes up, and make this more about squeezing your scapula back and down and together behind you than it is about the arms themselves. The arms are coming up as a result, but the main thing that you're doing is squeezing your shoulder blades together and down. Now don't shrug your shoulders round your ears. Keep that neck nice and long, up, back and down. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. Now if you need to hover your head a little bit off the ground, then by all means do that. But for now, we're focusing more on the shoulders than we are on the lower back. A lot of instructions there for such a simple exercise, but it's going to set the theme for the rest of what we're going to do. Exhale as you lift, squeeze to stabilize, inhale to lower. Let's do 3 more. 2 and 1. And we are going to bring that now into back extension. So big breath in, walking through the core. Exhale, you're going to lift the upper body from the mat. Inhale down. Keep your eyes down to the ground. Don't lift your head and stress your neck. Inhale down. As ever, keep those glutes switched off. So you're using your lower back muscles rather than your glutes. Inhale down. Exhale up. If this is getting a bit much, leave your arms down on the ground and just lift your body using your lower back. Try not to use your hands to press up, just lightly leave them down on the ground. But if you can, bring those hands up as well. Exhale up, inhale down, keep that core drawn in. 4, 3, 2, and this time we're going to hold at the top and you're going to bring those arms back in. You're going to pulse. Exhale on each lift for 8. So 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down to the mat. We're going to do that 2 more times. Nice breath in, exhale to lift, bring those arms up, big breath in and exhale on each pulse. So 8, 7, 6, 2, 1, and down to the mat. Taking a breath, wriggle out if you need to. Exhale to lift and big breath in and exhale on the pulses. So 8, 7, 6, 2, 1, and down to the mat and rest. Little wriggle out, take a few seconds for a few breaths. I'm going to continue with this shoulder and lower back for a couple more exercises. This time, I'm going to take that breath in, we're going to lift up into back extension. And we're going to squeeze the elbows back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, reaching backwards with the elbows. Then we're going to reach the arms forwards and up. Inhale back, exhale out. Inhale back, exhale out. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and try and touch your elbows behind your back. Reach out and lift. For 3, 2, and 1, and down. We're going to do one more of those. So elbows at 90 degrees. Big breath in. As you exhale, you lift up. Arms come up. Elbows try to touch behind your back. And reach. 7, 6. Eyes down to the ground. 5, 4. Breathing all the time. 3, 2, and 1. And arms come down. Head comes down. Now, we're going to do both sides of this one, so it doesn't matter which hand you lead with. So bring one hand in front of your face, downward facing dog, perfect. Up dog, not so perfect. And now, kind of in the way. Lie down, lie down. Good choice. Okay, let's see how we can do this. Hands, one comes in front of the face, so it's directly in line with the nose, with the elbow out. The other hand comes lightly just behind the ears, and you're going to take a nice breath in. As you exhale, you're going to rotate up and away. Use this hand for a little bit of support. Come back down. Exhale to lift. Really get into that opening up and lifting as you come down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And down. Bring the other hand round so it's directly in line with the body and the nose. Forehead down, the other hand lightly behind the ears. Big breath in, lock into the core. Exhale as you lift and open up the chest. Lift the elbow up, squeeze the scapula back and down. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and down comfortably and gently to the mat with that usual little wriggle out. We're almost done with the arms and shoulders, but we've got one last exercise, and for this one we want to have the arms straight out over the head and thumbs up. Feel a bit daft, but nobody's watching. The reason for the thumbs is it just gives you something to focus on. So forehead to the mat again, once you get into the exercise, but obviously you're going to want to watch what we're going to do. We're going to lift into back extension. We're going to lift the hands off the mat, thumbs up. Take a breath. As you slowly exhale, you're going to turn the hands. When they're out to the sides in a T position, the thumbs should be pointing down. This is rotating the shoulders. And as you bring them back towards the body, your thumbs should be pointing at your thighs. You're then going to lift and squeeze the shoulder blades back. You're going to lower and you're going to rotate. Thumbs down at the T point, thumbs up by the time they get to the front. And continuing that. Rotate, lift, down, rotate. Keeping the arms up and off the ground. Rotate, round, lift, down, rotate, back around. Let's keep going, using your breath all the time. And round, up, rotate, round, lift, back, round, thumbs up. Let's do 2 more. Round, lift, down and round. Now this is a really good exercise for shoulder health because it's got lift, it's got scapular retraction and strength, and it's got rotation as well. It's nice and slow and focused. And down. Now I've only done a few for the purposes of the pacing of this video, but that's a really good one for you to pause and to do a few extra ones. Okay, moving on, just take a little bit of a rest, give yourself a wriggle out. I'm just going to move fully onto the mat. Going to lie on your side, doesn't matter which, because we're going to do both. Lower arm out completely straight with your head resting on your bicep. You're going to bring the top leg up and in front of the body, foot flat on the floor, and your lower leg is going to be out completely straight. So you're in a straight line from fingertips to toes with this leg out in front. Take hold of this ankle for stability if you need to. If not, no problem, just have fingertips on the mat or just resting on your side if you want to. Doesn't really matter. You're going to take a nice breath in, you're going to press out through your heel, so lifting the toes on the outstretched foot. Lifting them, not pointing the toes, lifting, squeezing out through the heel. Big breath in, core engaged. As you exhale, you're going to lift this leg and squeeze into the end range, right into this groin and lower down. Exhale, press out through the heel, straighten that leg by squeezing the quad and down. Exhale, squeeze into that end range and down. Don't just do this little bit, squeeze into the end range before coming back down. That's going to target the adductors and the inner part of the hip. Exhale, squeeze, inhale down. Let's do 3, 2, and 1, and down. You're going to bring this top leg in line. Again, pressing out through the heels, so lifting the toes for all of these exercises today. Hand on the mat in front of you for stability. And first of all, we're going to lift this leg to about 45 degrees. We're going to bring the lower leg up to meet it. And we're going to take them down together. Lift, lift, and down. Lift, lift, and down. Let's do 3 more. See how I'm pausing there, there, and down. Stabilize before you go into the next phase of movement. And last one. I think I did more than the 3 that I said, but that's fine. And down. And this time we're just going to go into a straight double leg lift. So both going up at the same time. Take that breath in, lock in through the core again, and big breath in, exhale, lift both. And down. Try not to push into this hand too much. Just use it for stability. If you want extra challenge, bring the arm up in the air. And then you're focusing on not using this hand too much. Your lift will be lower because you don't have this hand to push those legs up. But that's fine. You're still doing the exercise. For 3, 2, pressing out through the heels still, and 1, and down, and rest. And I'm just going to spin round. You can just roll over to balance things out. Arm outstretched, head resting on the bicep, on the mat, or on the side. This leg comes up. Take hold if you need to. Press out through the heel, big breath in as you exhale. Lift, squeeze. Lift and squeeze. Pressing out through the heel as you exhale. Squeeze into that end range. 5, 4, keeping the core engaged. 3, 2, and 1. And down. Bringing that leg in line. Still pressing out through the heels. Hand on the mat or up in the air for a challenge. Lift the first leg. Second leg comes to meet it. Lower down together. Again, pause, pause, lower, lift and pause, and lower. This is just to stop us just kicking the legs like this. Lift, lift, be purposeful and deliberate about what you're doing with these exercises. Lift, lift, and down. 2 more. Lift, lift, and down. Last one. Lift, lift, and down. And into the double leg lift. Again, arm can come up for a bit of a stability challenge. More core involved in that. Big breath in as you exhale, lift both, and down. Try not to press into this hand too much on the ground. Use the hips and the obliques for this. A little bit of QL muscle in there as well. Pressing out through the heels still. Try and keep those knees together, not just the feet. That means you don't end up doing this. It's straight and down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And down. Resting down to the mat. Gonna come face down again. Tuck the toes at the back. Tuck the hands underneath the shoulders with your thumbs grazing your pecs. Keep those elbows in. Forehead to the ground and push up into high plank. If the push up itself is a bit much, then just come up to knees first, straighten the legs into nice high plank. Squeeze the glutes for stability, draw the core in for strength. Take a couple of breaths here and we're going to go into shoulder taps. So make sure you're nice and stable and your wrists are directly beneath your shoulders, and you're just going to tap one shoulder and bring it down. Tap one shoulder and bring it down. At about this pace, don't rush it. Again, we want to make sure we're stable, not just bashing out the reps. Breathing all the time. Try not to shift the body around too much when you do this. So what we don't want here is this kind of thing. We just want nice and still shoulder taps, keeping that core engaged, keeping the glutes on, planting the hands underneath the shoulders each time. 2 more on each side. 1, 1, and holding there. If you need to, we can bring the knees down to have a little bit of a wriggle out and a rest. And then we're going to come back into that. Nice high plank. And we're going to bring one leg straight outside of the foot into that kind of Spider-Man lunge. So you can see my leg there with my hands directly next to it beneath my shoulders. Just going to take a second to open up the hips in this position, keeping that back leg nice and straight. And we're going to rotate up into the air. We're going to bring the elbow down to the ground. We're going to bring the hand back and we're going to rotate the other one up, look up at the hand and down. We're going to take that leg back, bring the other one round. Take the elbow to the ground, rotate up in the air, hand down, rotate up with the opposite side. Stability is harder here because you're removing that tripod effect. Leg comes back, switch sides, elbow to the ground, arm comes up, hand to the ground, arm comes up, hand to the ground, leg comes back, switching sides, elbow down, reach up, hand down, reach up, down, sweep round. Leg comes round, elbow down, breathing all the time. Down, reach up, down, leg comes round. One more on each side. Elbow, reach, looking up at the hand. Reach, looking up at the hand. Leg comes back, last one. Sweep round, elbow, reach. reach, leg comes round, taking a second, knees to the ground, just rock back slightly to give yourself a little bit of a rest. We're almost there. Just some hip exercises left now. I'm just going to shuffle to the centre of the mat. Getting good back posture for this, so wrists directly beneath your shoulders again, nice and tall through the shoulders, so we're not hunched up around the ears, we're nice and tall and open. Nice flat back, so we're not arched like this. Good posture through the pelvis, and knees are directly beneath the hips, just a little bit behind. And take a few breaths, a little wriggle out. This time we're going to point the toes on one side. We're going to do both, so it doesn't matter which you start with. You're going to lift the foot towards the glute, so the knee is flexed as much as you possibly can, putting a little bit of a stretch into the quad. From there, we're going to keep the foot in that position, and we're going to hip extend. Try and get that knee to the hip height and back down. Squeezing that foot towards the glute all the time and down. Try not to arch the back as you go. You're keeping the rest of the body completely still. All that's moving is this hip socket and down. You're going to feel this in the hamstrings as well, particularly as you lift, because they're squeezing to keep that foot up, keep that knee in extension, flexion, sorry. 4, 3, exhale as you go up, 2, and 1, and down. And we're going to stay on that side, bring the foot down. We're going to go into some articulation of the hip. So for this, we're going to lift out to the side. We're going to rotate up and bring it down. So keeping the knee at 90 degrees, you lift out, you rotate at the hip, and you bring it down. Lift out, rotate at the hip, and bring it down. Try and keep that back as still as you can. Rotate and down. Out, rotate and down. For 3, 2, and 1, and down. Switching sides. I'm just going to spin round so you can see. You can stay where you are. Exactly the same thing. Set up again if you need to, wrist beneath shoulders, good back position. We're going to point the toes, lift the foot towards the glute, and we're going to lift into extension and down. Keeping that foot in towards the glute as much as you can. Try not to arch the back or move at all through the back. 5. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. 3, 2, and 1. Flatten the foot, keep the knee at 90 degrees as you lift out, round and down. Out, round and down. Out, round and down. Breathing all the time. For 3, 2, and 1. Toes together at the back, knees mat width apart. Take your hands out, drop into that child's pose, nice and active to begin with. Elbows up, arms straight, shoulders activated, forehead off the ground. Little wriggle out to drop into the hips. And just trying to return that breathing back to normal. Nice big breath in, and this time as you exhale, take the elbows to the ground, take the forehead to the ground. Take all the tension out of the back. And stay here for as long as it takes you to restore your breathing back to normal. And when you're ready, use your hands to press yourself up to seated. And we're all done. Thanks again for joining today. I hope you enjoyed that one. Although it was relatively minor movements for a lot of it, I think you'll have found that one quite hard work, particularly because they're movements that we don't always do. So any questions, put them down below. I'll answer as quickly as I can, and I'll see you soon.